Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Furious here, and yeah, before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm going to tell you today how to get the best out of your composition settings and your render settings in Premiere Pro and Sony Vegas. So yeah, let's jump in. Alright, so first things first, when you hit the new project, the window pops up. You want to select software only. This basically reduces the amount of crashes. This is the most reliable renderer option under the video and rendering playback window. Video, this should all be default, but if you don't have it already, timecode, audio samples, and DV. You don't have to worry about any of this kind of settings. You can just name it and just click OK. Project already exists. We're going to rename it something else. Alright, so the first thing you want to do when the project opens up, you have all the windows and stuff sorted out like I have mine here. You want to open up your sequence settings, and this basically makes sure that you have that predetermined resolution, predetermined frame rate that goes across for all your videos before you drag and drop. Because say if you start with, say, the first item in your project and it's like a different resolution, like 540p, then the rest of the project is going to end up matching that resolution, and you're going to be like going like, what the f***'s going on? You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to bleep that out. So the way we do it, you click File, New, and head to Sequence. So Control N is another way of doing it, and you can literally select any one. I have a custom one set up here, but say we go to my friend HDV, we're gonna click 1080p 30. So for this tutorial, I'm gonna give you the best settings for 60 frames per second, 1080p. This is the type of resolution this video will be uploaded in. This is the type of video resolution that I got for everything. So I'm going to hit custom. Under frames per second or time base, I'm going to hit the 60. Frame size, you don't need 1440 by 1080. You want 1920 by 1080. And the only reason it's showing this weird aspect ratio is because you need to change the pixel aspect ratio to square pixels 1.0. Then you have the 16 by 9. You want to make sure you put no fields progressive scan on, and 60 frames per second time code. Leave the audio alone at 48,000 Hertz. That's cool. Audio samples, iframe, only MPEG is cool. Width and height, just double check that that's the same. So if you have a very high-end system, you can go with the maximum render quality. This basically allows you to see exactly what you pretty much get in the final product. Mine isn't as powerful, I say, so I just leave it off. And for a preview window, it's already minimized or in a smaller resolution anyway. May as well just leave it off. But yeah, these are all your settings, and if I go to my sequence presets, I just named it 1920 by 1080 60 frames per second. You don't have to worry about anything else, and here is all that stuff. Alright, make sure when you load in your file, so you drag and drop a video file over, you hit keep existing settings. That way you keep your predetermined sequence settings in place. Alright, so now for your render settings, the best render settings I found on Premiere Pro. If you get a file, first of all, and you go to export and hit media, or hit Control M on your keyboard, this window pops up, and then you can select what you would like to be rendered in your video. Of course, I want the entire thing, so I'm going to drag both ends. And the best settings I've found for 1080p 60 frames per second, you go under H.264, that's the MP4 standard encoder. You want to go to match source high bitrate, and then from here we're going to customize a few things, and then you can save it as a preset by clicking save preset, and then you just name it. You want to make sure you click export video and audio. If you don't want one or the other, then just uncheck it. Just double check that these resolutions and frame rates are all the same. You want to change TV standard. I keep it on NTSC. It honestly does not matter. I've tried rendering in both. It doesn't make it like a visual difference. When I highlight over, it says like one's used in the States and one's used more in Europe and Asia. I have NTSC ticked for that reason, but really not necessary. You want to make sure you click render at maximum depth, and encoding settings, these should all stay the same. They'll be grayed out, so you don't have to worry about that. We're just going to scroll down to the bitrate settings. This is a massive part here, because if you don't have a high enough bitrate, especially for like a 1080p video, you may get a lot of these like blurred pixelated areas. And if you watch a few of my earlier on csgo frag movies from like 4 years ago or whatever, sometimes in those dark saturated areas you get that, and would look very I don't know, that's basically the best way to say it. YouTube I think recommends about 12 megabytes per second if I'm not mistaken, but I render at 15 megabytes per second, or 15 million bits per second. Advanced settings, you don't have to worry about this. The video is not in VR, for sure not. And make sure that the use maximum render quality is checked on. Everything else should be like this, frame sampling, and you are good to go. So after you're done, just click export and the video will start exporting. Alright, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to leave a like and comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Be sure to check me out on my Twitch channel as well, follow, just saying hi, and if you got any other questions, make sure to pop by. That rhymed unintentionally. Also, we've got a growing community of members in my Discord channel as well, coming each and every day. If you got any questions if you can't catch me on my Twitch stream for whatever reason, be sure to comment there, and I will be sure to get back to you. Alright, let's keep going. Alright, my Sony Vegas fellas, what's going on? So we're gonna just launch a new project here. I'll show you what kind of settings I have in store. So I have it labeled csgo edits, but this is great for legit anything you do in 1080p 60 frames per second. Make sure, of course, you have 1920 by 1080 pixels. You have non-progressive scanning, just like over in the Premiere Pro. One square, you don't want any output rotation. 60 frames per second, no 3D stereoscopic mode. You want an 8-bit pixel format with the best full resolution rendering quality. You want a motion blur type with Gaussian blur, whatever it is. Deinterless method, you don't need anything, and then you just kind of figure out where you want your rendered files to go. You can still change this before you actually render your project, but it's a good reference point there. In terms of audio, 48,000 is the standard, bit depth 16, good, and really I think this is all default. In terms of audio, ruler, summary, audio CT, you don't have to worry about that, just click OK. Then you'll start out with a new project. Just drag and drop in another video. When it says you want to set your project video settings to match this media, hit no, because this will actually kind of, if you drag in something that's a little bit, say like 720p or something, it'll like around with it'll mess up your render settings, your predetermined render settings that you just put in. So you want to click no, and here you have your video playing through. When you're done, you want to click render as. So just go under file, render as. There's no real hotkey on the site. I'm sure you can make one. And then there's different ways you can actually render this. It depends if you have a intensive CPU, GPU, etc. So I'll show you both that I have here. So the first thing you want to do is go underneath the main concept abcaac.mp4. You want to scroll down to where it says like Blu-ray 1920 by 1080p with that -60i, and then you just want to take that and customize the template, and it'll open up into something like this. You want to make sure you select HD 1080. You have main profile, frame rate of 59.94. It's technically 60 frames per second. It'll show as 60 frames per second on YouTube, so don't worry about it. Again, non-progressive scan, 1 pixel aspect ratio, number of reference frames is 2, a constant bit rate at 14 million bytes per second, or 14 megabytes per second. Megabits per second? Megabits per second. We're talking about bits here, not megabytes. Okay. Audio, again, 48,000, bit rate 192,000. All this, really, you don't need to worry about at all. Encode mode. So this is the part I was talking about where you have GPU versus CPU. You want to say render using CUDA if available. I can't actually remember what this stands for. I'll edit it in if I find it. I'll find it online, honestly. I'll edit it right in what it stands for. It should be right here. And yeah, it's basically it. You want to just hit OK when you're done that, and that's it. If you want to do it CPU, legit, you keep all the settings the same. The only thing you change is in the encode mode, render using CPU only. OpenCL is another type of encode mode. Honestly, the best way to try it out, though, if you're not too sure what you have in your CPU, GPU, trust me, like, best way to try it out, take a small video clip that is 1080p 60 frames per second, will take maybe like 30 seconds to render, depending on your system, and try out each encoder and see what turns out the best, what goes the fastest, what sounds the best, works the best, looks the best, really, is what you're looking for. Then you hit render, and away you go. It'll start rendering. Alright, thanks so much guys for watching the video. Make sure to leave it a like if you enjoyed it. Sub if you really enjoyed it and you want more content like this, more tutorials. Again, I upload every single week, multiple times. And I know this one was a little more general, but I thought it would be very useful for you guys because you want to watch and you want to prepare more montages and get them in tip-top shape and looking crisp as for YouTube. I can't swear here. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say. Peace out. Have a good day.